Please don't bite that little boy like you did yesterday. What do you think? All right, Saturday we'll have water, I promise. There we go. Very good. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.
Hi there. Hey, little guys. Over there? In that picture.
Probably.
It is. Yeah, I bet it is.
I use at least 30 pounds.
Yeah, ours was 33.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Now, are these blue cats?
That's probably closer to about 70 pounds.
Yeah, these are blue cats.
But he was crying last time, so that's cool that he did that this time.
Yeah, I got a good, real good picture. Like
Already
there.
You ready to go, buddy?
Oh my gosh, they are real. They weren't even moving. I thought they were fake.
Look at him on his back. What a boy. Oh, man. That is fun.
Oh man. That was huge. Big fish, huh? Crazy big. Yeah, this place is cool. What's he doing? Oh, it stinks right here, man. Holy crap, it stinks.
I want to chill.
Without further ado, who is ready to see the birthplace of rock and roll? Oh, good. 5 people. That's awesome. All right, guys. A few things before we do go downstairs. These are very, very important. 1, flash and video is totally okay now. Go crazy within reason. And number 2, and the most important one of them all, we are still an active studio at night. This music have a lot of very beautiful and priceless instruments and equipment downstairs that you absolutely cannot touch. With that being said, whenever you are ready, just make your way downstairs, take 2 rights, follow the music, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's not, it's also, it's also,
That doesn't sound
I'm talking to you too. Got a man in Memphis and West Memphis too. You got one thing and it's gonna something else. Hey, Memphis, tell you, yeah, you're gonna wreck yourself. Some people got it all and they already got it. One in love and you get there.
All right, everybody, well, come on in, make yourselves at home. We have chairs, benches, seats. If they're available, by all means, you're more than welcome to take one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who we were just listening to, that is Mr. Don Bryant, a High Records recording artist that had just recorded that song and many more live in this room about 1.5 years ago. So yes, we are still in active studio at night. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 706 Union Avenue, better known as the Memphis Recording Service, best known as the legendary Sun Studio. The music that would come out of this small little room would go on to change the face of popular music as we know it, and that is a fact. We are truly standing on very sacred and hallowed ground, and I'm very honored to be in this room with you all today. Now back to our story upstairs, Elvis. He just cut a few songs with Marion. Marion sends Elvis on his way with a copy of those recordings, and she saves a copy to play for Sam for whenever he gets back from wherever he was, because she thinks that she is hearing something very special. And when Sam Phillips finally hears Elvis Presley for the very first time, guys, he is 100% totally and absolutely not into it at all. Hates it, can't stand it. Now keep in mind though, Elvis is just coming here and cut a pop ballad. Something that Sam's been trying to get very far away from ever since his days at the radio station. So it's going to take Elvis an entire year of coming up to this building, paying his dues, getting on Sam's last nerve, until he is actually invited back for his very first real recording session. Now at this point, Sam had just gotten in a few songs from Nashville, and now he did need a band to record these songs. So he decides to hire Scotty Moore on the electric guitar and also Bill Black on the upright bass, and they're pictured right above the glass on the left and right. Well, now Sam did need a front man. Well, Marion suggested to Sam again, well, what about the cute kid with the sideburns, Elvis Presley? And Sam is finally worn down enough to be like, all right, Marion, call him up, get him down here, let's get this over and done with. So before Marion could probably even got the phone with Elvis, he is through that door because he knows he only has one shot at impressing the man behind the glass, Mr. Phillips. Now, as Sam is setting up for this particular session, he has got Scotty Moore with his electric guitar set up right here on this X on the floor in front of the piano right here. He also has Mr. Bill Black, who's upright bass, hanging out over on this X right there. And that only leaves one X, ladies and gentlemen. It's this one right here. This is where the king stood. Bob Dylan himself has actually come into the studio, gotten down on his hands and knees, and he has kissed this X. And guys, you're more than welcome to do the same thing. I don't recommend it. There have been a lot of people in here this week, so do it at your own risk. I kiss it all the time, but I'm weird that way, so no judgment here. You can wash your face after. Come on, guys. Kiss
You
it.
wash your face.
Whatever you want to do, no pressure. Now back to our session. There's nothing that these gentlemen are doing out here that's got Sam excited. Take after take, the session isn't working. So Sam finally hits stop on his tape machine, comes out of his control room. He's like, guys, I'm not digging this. I'm going to go have a cigarette. I'll be right back. Scotty and Bill, they're professional musicians. They're ready for a break. They're probably ready to get out of here. Well, Elvis knows that he is blowing it at this point. He does not want this session to end, and he certainly does not want to go home. So he picks up his guitar and starts frantically running around this room, playing a song by Arthur Big Boy Crudup called That's All Right. Just trying to shake out his nerves, get rid of some of the synergy. Scotty and Bill, they relent. They're like, all right, kid, we will jam with you one last time. Now, as they are doing this does grab Sam's attention because bursting through his control room door, shouting and freaking out about this song. They cut that song in a few takes. Then a few short days later, Sam would bring that record to our crazy radio DJ friend, Mr. Dewey Daddy-O Phillips over at WHBQ. This wild-looking man right here barking into his microphone. And if you happen to be in Memphis on that hot July night in 1954, you would have heard a very similar broadcast from WHBQ, like the one that I'm about to play for you all. Now, as a disclaimer, Dewey here, he was a very eccentric, southern, crazy man. It might be hard to understand him at first, but I guarantee you, y'all haven't heard a radio DJ quite like this one. There he is, guys, Mr. Dewey, Daddy-O Phillips.
Oh, yes, I got people so Phillips. Let's bring the hottest cotton picking thing to cuts a real hot blue coming from WHBQ in Hotel Chisco on the magazine floor. Is that right, Dave? That's right. What do you call Sam Putney? I gotta call Sam, Dave. Ah, Pete Picker. How you getting on there, Ern? MC Ern. How you on, buddy? Very good, Putney. More like it. It's all right. It's okay. Nervous, Snoop? All right. Just go on down and get your wheelbarrow load of mad dogs, run them through the front door and tell them Phillips sent you from Red. Hot and blue deep. I got a new song we're gonna play here. They're gonna cut loose this new song. I mean, a flat get it.
Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right for you. That's all right, Mama. Just any way you do it, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right, Mama. Any way you do. Well,
Now, after Dewey plays this song for the very first time, his phone lines are blowing up off the hook. People are calling in demanding to know who this kid was singing That's All Right. So Dewey, he would go on to play that song a record 14 times in his 3-hour broadcast. It was insane.
Wow.
Well, Sam starts to realize that he has a hit on his hands with Elvis. So he takes him into Taylor's restaurant, the cafe right next door, and signs him to a 3-year recording contract with the Sun Record Company. But Elvis would only be here for around 17 months before Sam would sell his contract to RCA Victor Records in Nashville for a whopping $35,000. Now, if you were to ask Sam up until he passed in 2003, he would have told you that that was one of the wisest decisions that he'd ever made. Because now with this amount of money, he's able to completely erase his debt. He's now able to hire a larger staff, because up until this point, it was only just him and Marion. And also, for the very first time, he's able to take this small record label and turn it into an international one. And now he is able to properly promote and sign new artists. And one of the very first artists to be signed to the Sun Record Company was this handsome gentleman right here. That is Mr. Carl Perkins. Now, Carl, he would go on to record the first million-selling hit for the Sun Record Company with a song called Blue Suede Shoes. It would go on to become the very first crossover smash hit on 3 different radio charts. It was also written around 3 a.m. on the back of a potato sack. Here he is, guys.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but get off of my blue suede shoes.
And also another gentleman that would eventually be signed to the Sun Record Company. At the time, he was just an unknown appliance salesman. But he was so bad at his job, guys, and one of the only things he ever managed to sell in his very short career was a color TV to Marion Keisker at her front desk. But hey, trust me, he'll be a good appliance salesman when you have the dashing looks and the voice of the man in black himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Cash. Now Johnny, he would go on to become the most consistent hit maker here at Sun with songs like Hey Porter, Cry, 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 Get Rhythm, Folsom Prison Blues, and a song that was released in May of 1956 called I Walk the Line. Y'all hear that scratchy sound on the song? Well, it's not a snare drum. It's actually a guitar with a piece of paper or a dollar bill woven through the strings. So when your drummer decides to quit one day, which sometimes they do, well, guess what? Be your own drummer, guys. Sing if you know it. I keep a close watch on this part of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the pilot by. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Pretty cool trick, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to record many artists after this. People like Mr. Roy Orbison back here, brooding in his famous shades. Also right here in the right-hand corner, my man, the Silver Fox himself, Mr. Charlie Rich. And also, the photograph above the piano right here, probably the most famous photograph in rock and roll history, the $1 Million Quartet sessions that were secretly recorded here December 4th, 1956. And here's a clip from that day with the boys hanging around the piano singing Elvis's song, Don't Be Cruel. Here we go.
Oh, no, wait now. It's this way. He was real slender. You got to pray. He said, had a little slow with me. Started off. He said, what kind of key did I do it in? What key did I do Don't Be Cruel in? He said, hey, you know I can't be found. Sitting home
That heavy hand you hear on the piano is none other than the killer himself, Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis. Now Jerry, he is from Faraday, Louisiana. He is literally the last man standing. He's 83 years old, still playing to this day, and he can still play just like he did back then. Now Jerry, he would go on to record the 2 biggest selling hits for the Sun Record Company with 2 songs. One was called A Whole Lot of Shakin'. Any guess what the other song was called? There it is, thank you. Great Balls of Fire, released in October of 1957. Within a week of that song being out, it sold over 1 million copies. Here he is.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I let you love what I thought it was fine. You came along and woo, now honey, I changed my mind. This love is fine.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the year 1959. Sam's lease is about to be up here at 706 Union Avenue, but it's all in good time because the bands are getting larger, more musical equipment, the recording technology is changing. So Sam decides to pack up shop and purchase a building behind us on Madison Avenue and open up the Sam Phillips Recording Service, which is still an active studio today, ran by his 2 sons, Knox and Jerry Phillips. So this room that we were standing in right here, a musical ghost town for about 25 years. And it wouldn't be until around 1985 where Mr. Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins would come back into this room and record a session called The Class of 55. And here's a photo from that day with their producer and engineer, Mr. Chips Moman. Now when this record came out, it went to the top of the charts, and when people started realizing that this place was a functioning studio again, well, they started coming back through the doors. People like Mr. Paul Simon, Ringo Starr, John Mellencamp, Beck, Maroon 5, Chris Isaac, Margot Price, Def Leppard, Bruno Mars, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Mick Jagger, and also at the time an unknown band from Ireland. They called themselves U2. Woo. Now U2, they were going to record some of the Rattle and Hum record right here in this room, and that blue Ludwig drum set right back there, that is actually their drum set, and it has been in this room ever since.
Oh man.
That brings us to modern day. We're still a fully functioning studio at night. It's around 7 p.m. when the museum shuts down. This room becomes alive with musicians from all around the world are allowed to come in here and live out what Sam intended on this room always being. So we are very fortunate that we are still that. And you probably ask yourselves, what is real? What is a recreation? I'm here to tell you that structurally, most of this room has not changed since those last few months of 1949 where Sam, Marion, and a friendly carpenter built this room. The tile floor that we were all standing on, Sam and Marion laid it themselves. Wow. The acoustic baffling, the ceiling and wall tiles, the lighting fixtures, the glass, the doorways, the trim, it is all original, and it's very remarkable. It's been in such great shape for all these years. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, our tour is about to come to a close, but before we part ways, Sam, before he passed in 2003, donated a very special and rare piece of gear back to the studio for us to enjoy, and she's been hiding from you all this entire time. Dying to meet you. Y'all want to meet her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here she is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I have here is one of the few surviving microphones from those sessions from 1950 to 1959. This is a Short 55 vocal mic. Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, B.B. King, the Howlin' Wolf, the Prisonaires, Rufus Thomas, and so many more singing to this beautiful lady right here. Now, Sam did not want us to be in a glass box for no one to ever touch again. His one rule to us is that everyone was allowed to touch her, hold her, caress her, take photos with her. I'm going to let you all do that here in just one moment, but when you do, please keep in mind that she is one of a kind, so please be very gentle with her. Also, whenever you do take your photographs, be sure to sing to this little circle right here on the front of the microphone, and if you need any inspiration whatsoever, let's take a look at the king himself, guys. And also, whenever you do get a chance, be sure to stand on his X and strike that iconic pose like he once did, and I'm going to leave this right here for y'all to do that with, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Smith. I'm a lifelong Memphian, and I am also a musician myself. So to have been in this room with you all today, to have shared the story of rock and roll has been my absolute honor and pleasure, and I really appreciate you all being here. This is a dream job for me. Also, if you have enjoyed my story, although it is not expected, it is 100% totally okay to tip your tour guide. And that's me, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. You made it to Sun Studios. Thank you all so much. You guys are great. Thank you. I'll be in Miss Marion's office if you have any questions. Till then, step right up to the microphone, guys. Here we go. Alright guys, the room is yours, enjoy it. If you don't need me to have a good time, thank you all so much.
That's cool.
Wow.
He's still going. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go! He's not. Oh my gosh. They survived. Yeah.